Wonderful. So welcome, everyone, to Tuesday afternoon Appropriations and Financial Affairs Committee meeting. I'm Teresa Peirce, the House Chair of the committee. We're joined today by members of the Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry Committee, and they're doing their report back from the biennial budget. I think I'd like to start with introductions from AFA, and then we're waiting for a few more people from ACF to join us. So if I could begin with Representative Cloutier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kristen Cloutier, and I represent House District 60, which is part of Lewiston.
And Representative Fecteau.
Good afternoon, Justin Fecteau. I represent House District 86, which is part of Augusta.
Representative Corey.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Corey. I represent House District 25, which is part of Windham.
Representative Fay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jessica Fay. I represent House District 66, which is parts of the towns of Casco, Poland, and Raymond, where it's muddy in my yard.
It's spring. Representative Fay. Oh, I'm sorry. Representative Hymanson, my mistake. The boxes shifted on me. Sorry.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I'm just using earphones.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, I'm Representative Patty Hymanson. I represent House District 4, which is parts of York, Wells, Sanford, and all of Ogunquit.
Representative Cardone.
Hello, I'm Barbara Cardone. I represent House District 127, part of Bangor.
Representative Arata.
Good afternoon. My name is Amy Arata, and I represent House District 65, which includes New Gloucester and the other part of Poland.
Which may be as muddy as well. We don't know. Representative Martin.
Hi, John Martin, House District 151, Northwestern Aroostook County.
And Representative Millett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. I'm Sowen Millett. I represent House District 71, including the citizens of Norway, Sweden, Waterford, and West Barre.
Senator Davis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Paul Davis. I represent Senate District 4, which is all of Piscataquis County, parts of Somerset and Penobscot, and we have plenty of mud.
And Senator Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Donna Bailey. I represent Senate District 31, which is all of the residents of Saco, Old Orchard Beach, Hollis, and Leamington, and some of the residents of Buxton.
Wonderful. And I see Senator Breen is just joining on for introductions if she's ready, but we can also come back. We'll come back to Senator Breen. So Senator Dill, I might turn it over for you to help introduce your committee. Senator Dill, are you there with us? Representative or Senator Breen, would you like to introduce yourself, and then we'll move to Senator Dill?
Me?
Yep, go for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Kathy Breen. I represent 6.5 communities in Cumberland County in the Maine Senate, and I serve as Senate Chair of Appropriations. Sorry, I'm a little late.
No worries. And Senator Dill, help us with your committee, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I am Jim Dill. I represent Senate District number 5, Northern Penobscot County, and I'm the chair of the Agriculture, Conservation, and Forestry Committee. And with me today is Representative Pluker. Want to unmute yourself, sir, and introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. I'm Bill Pluker. I come from Warren. I represent Hope Appleton and part of Union, House District 95. Thank you.
And Representative Schofield.
Thank you, Senator Dill. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Tom Schofield, and I represent House District 112, and I live in Weld, Maine. That's Franklin and Somerset counties. Thank you.
And Representative Underwood is just sitting down. If you will introduce yourself, Representative Underwood.
I'm Representative Underwood. I represent District 147 in Presque Isle. Thank you.
And I think that's it, with the exception of Karen Netto, our analyst, is here also.
I believe Representative Osher is here, maybe?
Oh, I didn't see her. She just popped in. Sorry. Representative Osher.
Hi, I'm Lori Osher. I represent District 123. That's most of Orono.
Great. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. If others join, we'll make sure we can loop them into the conversation and introductions. Welcome again to the ACF committee. We're excited to have you back with your report back for the biennial budget. And I think Senator Dill, I'll turn it over to you and your committee to walk us through your report back. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. We went through the entire thing. We had a unanimous budget, which we thought was amazing for us. And it was great to do that. One of the things is we kind of went back and looked at 2 or 3 different issues, and we did have additions to the budget for those things. Everything else was just as it was presented by the department. We had the discussion with the department on what they should be. And the first one, and I believe you probably have the information with you, and the first one is some general operations under parks. And on that particular one, with the committee's indulgence, I would turn that over to Representative Schofield. He was kind of the architect for this. So Representative Schofield, do you have that information in front of you? It's the 3 positions.
Unfortunately, Senator Dill, I don't have the exact numbers, but I can speak to it generally. What they had is they had 3 positions that were park manager positions that were seasonal in nature. And what they were doing was they were taking 2 positions and making 1 year-round position. This affected 3 employees. So what I sought to do was to take those 2 long-term seasonal positions and put them together into 1 single position. It's fair to the employee, and it's also a better and more accurate representation of what the Bureau is doing. So those 3 positions will now be put together from what was formerly 6 seasonal positions. And there is a fiscal note, I believe, somewhere around $7,500 for all 3 of them. So roughly $2,500 a piece. And I'm not exactly sure why the fiscal note. It's probably something to do with benefit package, but that's my recollection of it. I think that sums it up pretty well.
You're right, Representative. You're right on the money. That's exactly what they did. I think, as you pointed out, the 2 positions were probably held by the same person in each one. So they just consolidated it into 1. And you do have the increase. And I do believe that's what we were told by the department. It had to do with the benefits package, is why there was a slight increase going from part-time to full-time. Because I think
thank you, Senator Dill, for clarifying it. Yes, each of those positions are held by the same individual in each case, each of those 3 cases. Thank you.
Right, which I think is very important to know. So, may as well just wrap it into 1. I don't know if there's any questions on that anybody from the AFA has. I mean, it seemed to be straightforward.
Senator Dill, maybe we'll just go through the whole thing and then people can ask questions at the end.
Okay, fine.
Great. Thank you.
The next suggestion that the next thing that we did put in was the whole PFAS issue. And we're finding it certainly in our committee, and I think ENR and the whole legislature is going to find that this is going to be a very important and crucial issue to the state of Maine, and it's actually a nationwide problem. As you probably realize, that PFAS basically has come from sludge that 20 or 30 years ago was told by the state and everybody that was the way to use it, and these were spread on fields basically for fertilizer. And now we're finding 30 years later, or whatever the case may be, that those fields are contaminated with PFAS, and they have to be examined or tested. And one of the things is that in the budget from the department, they had testing at $13,000 a year. Now, each test probably costs somewhere around $400. So $400 of testing for each PFAS case doesn't really go very far. And the other issue was that each farm that is contaminated with PFAS, to get money through the federal indemnity program, they must test their farm each month for 18 months to continue in the program at the cost of $400 a piece per test. And we certainly as a committee felt that it wasn't fair to the farm. And it may be a new farmer on that farm. It may not be the original farmer that even put out the sludge, and not that that really should matter. But the bottom line is we felt that it shouldn't be on the back of the farmer to pay for that testing. So we increased each of the 2 years in the biennium from 13,000 to 63,000. So we added 50,000 each year of the biennium for testing. And we left it to the department's discretion how they would work with the farmers that are known to be contaminated, how they would subsidize and to what extent of their actual testing. The other issue that went along with that, we added a reference 215A, I believe it was, Initiative 215A. And basically what that did, it added a full-time person to this. Again, our opinion is that this issue is going to grow by leaps and bounds. You can hardly go through a week without seeing it on the news. Just last week, there was a big article about Fairfield. And the problem has become many of these farms have actually been sold off. As the saying goes, the last crop a farmer is going to grow is houses. And many of these fields have been sold off. These farms have been sold off, and housing developments have cropped up. And now you've got this nice new housing development, and people don't want their kids playing out in the soil, on the lawn, because it's contaminated. So we think there's going to be a lot more testing that's going to be done. So we put in a position for a toxicologist. And that's with the fringe and the entire position is about 100,000 a year. And I would turn to Representative Pluker if he'd like to add anything to that issue.
Thank you, Senator Dill. Just a lot of this work that we are hoping can be done by this new position is currently all falling back on Director McBrady, who is the Bureau Director of Agriculture, and she's got enough work, but she has no one that she can who can kind of coordinate the PFAS response within DACF for her, or that can oversee the cooperation that's happening between DEP and DACF. And so this going forward, this position is just very key to making sure that DACF is able to put together a coordinated, thorough response that's cooperating with all of the different players involved.
And while you're right there, Representative Pluker, I'll let you continue on the next two, I think maybe 4 initiatives, but they're rolled in together, and those are the meat and poultry inspection efforts. So if you want to speak to those.
Thank you, Senator Dill. Yeah, these are references 213, 214, 216, and 217, which are all related back to the Maine Meat and Poultry Inspection Program. And right now, it was the backup in our slaughterhouses was bad before COVID, and it's just gotten worse since that time. Farmers are now booking slots in slaughterhouses a year and a half, all the way into middle of 2022 at this point for their animals. We have a real bottleneck that is holding back industry, and we have an opportunity going forward to develop our industry here in the state of Maine. We have the grass, we have the land base for it, but we don't have the infrastructure we need. So these 4 positions are just moving them from limited time positions, limited period positions into ongoing positions. 2 of them are directly working in the Maine Meat and Poultry Inspection Program in order to reduce wait times for livestock producers. And the other 2 are directly related to the fact that the Maine Meat and Poultry Program is now working in coordination with the USDA in a new cooperative interstate shipment program. And this means that Maine inspected meat can be shipped out of state, and which is also increasing the demand for slaughtering facilities in the state of Maine. And so having these 2 positions established and ongoing just means that a lot of that work that needs to be handled by the department we have the capacity to do so. This demand, as long as we're able to get out of the way of the industry and really help them do this work, is just going to increase in years to come. So it makes sense to make these ongoing positions.
And that's basically what we had for changes. Otherwise, the budget was as presented. And I just would hope that the AFA would go along with these changes and include it in the upcoming budget discussion that will be moving forward here soon. And with that, I would say that from the committee standpoint, that's all we have to say. I do see that Commissioner Beal is here, and I believe Amy Carlton is here too, the financial analyst for the department. So if there's other questions that we can't answer, I'm sure they'll be able to answer.
Thank you so much, Senator Dill and other Representative Pluker and other Representative Schofield for sharing all of that with us. I see we have a couple hands up. We'll start with Representative Fay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm really interested in and encouraged to see that you had a conversation around PFAS. I have two questions in this area. One is, do you envision testing going beyond the testing of milk? I know DEP is doing a lot of the testing of the field, so I'm curious about how that is going to work. And then my other question is around the toxicologist position. I understand, Dr. Smith is I think his office is in CDC, and was wondering, how this toxicologist would interact with the state, with the CDC.
Right. The first question, I'll take the second one first, then I'll turn it over to the department, at least from the committee's standpoint. I believe we ended up putting it at a toxicologist position just because of the nature of the beast that we're dealing with. And as for how they interact, I'm not sure of that. We already have toxicologists in other departments. We have a toxicologist at the Board of Pesticides Control. And truly, I'm not sure what their interaction is with the state CDC toxicologist. So I assume that would be at a departmental level. And I don't remember what your first question was about the PFAS and the different areas that are testing milk. And will we continue only with milk? I think any farm related stuff is what going to be, but I would certainly defer to the commissioner on letting her answer that about testing of milk and other farm type products.
Thanks.
Commissioner?
Sure. Yes, thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. So about the first question, do we anticipate other types of testing, other types of food? The answer is yes. I think the public would really expect us to move in that direction just to ensure food safety. I'm happy to say that so far, the retail milk testing that we've done has led us to feel confident that the commercial supply of milk is safe. And but we continue to test, and we will continue to do that. We have been doing some sort of experimental analysis with the FDA looking at beef. That is something that we know we're going to need to do more work around going forward. Fortunately, to date, they've shouldered the cost of most of that, but there isn't any commitment to doing that on an ongoing basis. And in terms of the second question about being a toxicologist, we work very, very closely with Andy Smith at Maine CDC. He's been incredibly helpful to us and in this sort of evolving PFAS response, also working very closely with staff at DEP. And, just that coordination takes a lot of time, as you can imagine, in addition to the response. And it's very technical. It's highly, highly technical, the kinds of conversations we're having around action thresholds and levels of contamination. And so I think that is probably the appropriate type of a position to really be able to carry this work forward for the department.
Thank you, Commissioner. Representative Arata.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Was there any conversation around using the PFAS money in the fund that was established in the supplemental budget rather than general fund money in this budget?
We did not have that conversation that I recall, no.
Is there any reason why that money couldn't be used that you know of?
I don't know that, but that's something probably this committee would discuss, or I would go back to, again, the commissioner and see if there's any reason she could see that money couldn't be used to do this.
I guess, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just thanking him. You can go ahead.
I mean, I think the answer to that question is that funding is earmarked for a number of different types of activities already. And I'm just going to predict that whatever funding has been allocated so far is not going to be enough in the long run. I think we've got a long road ahead of us, and that's why we've been working so hard to advocate to our congressional offices and the federal agencies that this is an important issue, and we really need a coordinated federal response because it's a national issue. It's not just something that we're going to be facing here in Maine.
It sounds like we need a strategic plan rather than just throwing extra money at it every few years. It'd be good to have a plan, I guess.
I think it's hard to plan, just the nature of this. I can just say, to give you a little bit of an idea of what it's like to, once we have identified a farm or maybe a couple of farms that by looking at their historical records of when they may have pulled permits to spread, there isn't a straight line. It's not an easy correlation to make that this farm we should find contamination on and this farm we shouldn't. And we've actually tested some farms that by all means, what we saw on paper made us think that we were going to find something and we found nothing. So it's hard right now for us to say exactly how widespread this is going to be, but just I do think it's probably going to exceed the resources that have been allocated to date.
Thank you.
Representative Hymanson.
Thank you. I'm going to dovetail over Representative Verada's idea of a strategic plan. Even though there isn't a full roadmap, I think it really behooves us to have some kind of roadmap that spans, 3 to 5 years. Because this is going to really balloon outward into other jurisdictions of departments, the CDC, agriculture, potentially tourism. And I think there should be an understanding of that ballooning or some kind of process going forward. So I don't know what that forum might look like, a commission, I don't really know, but I'm just starting to think that that's going to be important with this. Just a general statement.
I would like to respond to that, Representative. I agree with you totally, and I think you kind of heard that from us. However, we have to get started. We don't have the luxury, I don't think, of waiting to try to put a strategic plan. You know how fast we can act on some of these things. So putting a strategic plan together could take us a while, but we need to hit the ground running now because it is a serious problem. And I think that all this can come together as we move forward personally with the department's cooperation. And maybe it's under the umbrella, like we said, of our toxicologists at the CDC or something. But it's still going to need the same amount of personnel in my estimation, even though the other departments have nothing to do necessarily with me that's going to be working with this.
Yeah, and I don't want to. May I just one more?
Yes, please.
It wasn't my intention to say nothing now, strategic plan, then do it. No, I'm in agreement about something now.
Right.
Plus, yeah. I think we're saying the same thing.
Commissioner, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
I just wanted to say that I wanted to remind everyone that there was a PFAS task force that convened, and there is a report with a series of recommendations out there, and there was a lot of good work that went into that. Knowing there's a lot we don't know, but there are some core recommendations in that report, one of which being that we know there are going to need to be more staffing resources.
Thank
you.
And
I think with staffing resources, we would be in a better position to put together the kind of plan that you're looking for.
Representative Pluker, did you have a comment on that?
I was going to say something similar to the commissioner, is that we need this staffing in order to create that plan, because DACF needs to have a seat at the table as we go forward in the strategic planning process. And this position is who would help make that happen. Also, we're in the process of figuring out the scope of this issue. You know, we have almost 500 sites, which might be tested in the next year or so. And we don't know yet, as the commissioner mentioned, is it going to be 10% or is it going to be 75% of those sites that we need to take action on? So very much testing, coordination of program is key to figuring out that strategic plan going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it might be helpful for our work session if we could have a link to the copy of that report. Maybe others on the committee have it. I know I don't. Just as we go and move forward with this conversation. I have Representative Fay and then Representative Arata.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I was going to suggest that folks take a look at the PFAS task force report. I spent most of their meetings sitting in the room listening to the work that they did, and it was quite comprehensive. And I have to say, it is technical, it is involved, and it might be worth noting, just as an aside, that there are a number of bills coming up regarding PFAS in both, some have been heard in HHS and in ENR, and also in AG and ACF. So we may want to think as we're talking about this issue more, and I would ask the chairs if they think that this is not a bad idea to get a briefing on PFAS at some point down the line. It might be helpful for the committee, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Thank you, Representative Arata.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was wondering if the commissioner could send me the scientific studies that you look at as you educate. I'd like to educate myself more about PFAS. So if you could send me links to articles. I'm not talking about articles in like the Wall Street Journal. I mean Science, Nature, molecular type of publications. If you have those, I'd like to educate myself a little bit more. Thank you.
Sure, we'd be happy to put together some references for you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Representative Martin, and then Senator Davis.
Turn your attention to the Division of Forest Protection, and I'm curious as to how the numbers have been put together for reimbursement of personal services costs related to non-fire related flights. 39,000 seems awfully low from what I know of the times that the planes are used to transport whatever it is they're transporting, including the amount of time spent in putting up the tower at Round Pond, for example, and other things.
Representative Martin, are you on a specific page of the report that we could reference if we have that?
Yeah, I'm on page 13.
Thank you. Senator Dill or others from the committee?
Yeah, I'm just looking for what he's referring to. I would expect that I'm going to have to refer that to either the commissioner or to Amy Carlton, how they came up with that figure.
Yeah, I appreciate if the commissioner could come back and take a look at that and get back to us. The other thing also on forest protection, and that's on the previous page, on page 12, Commissioner, does that include the start of the construction of the facility in Fort Kent?
Reference number 310, you're referring to Representative Martin?
Right. That was on page 12.
Yeah.
Amy Carlton might have her fingertips on the answer to this question more quickly than me. If not, we can certainly bring that back for the work session.
Just the background very quickly. 2 facilities were closed in Aroostook County, one along the border and the other one in Santa Gat. And the money was supposed to be diverted towards the construction of a joint facility to be built at the old airport in Fort Kent. And that was actually 2 years ago, and nothing's moved at this point.
Maybe your department could give us an update on that, unless you're able to address it at this instant. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't have that information at my fingertips. Like I said, if Amy's not available to jump on, then we'll have to come back and bring that information to you.
You could do that before we close this budget. Thank you.
Looks like she just unmuted herself to make comment, possibly. Welcome.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I will get you that information. I do believe that you're referencing on which page?
Page 12, it's reference number 310, I believe.
Okay, that I believe is repairs for facilities that are in forest protection, not necessarily the new, the construction of the new facility, but we can confirm that.
Right, it does say repairs and construction.
Correct. It's the justification on the top of the next page is there are several roofing, paving, and other facility repairs that are needed in the 30 facilities for forest protection. So we can confirm for sure for you, but my recollection is that it is not. It's the repairs and whatnot for the other facilities.
Well, that was actually planned 3 years ago, and just trying to figure out where the money is that was set aside for that purpose. And that was the on the border, and also the land that was sold in Santa Gat from that facility as well.
Okay, we'll get that back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the chat right now, there is the PFAS task force report for those who are able to access that. But we'll also make sure that everyone gets that in an email via our committee clerk. Any other questions today from that we? Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Davis, my mistake. Welcome again.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and be assured that I'm not offended in any way. I'm curious, Commissioner or Senator Dill, about the TIER program. Can you tell me how many farms are involved in that now?
You're on mute, Senator Dill.
I am not sure the number of that right now. I don't know if the commissioner has that number at her fingertips either on how many's involved in the TIER program.
I don't have it at my fingertips right now. I'd love to get you an accurate number, though. As you know, the number of dairy farms is it's not a static number, so that could have changed since I last looked at it.
I wouldn't want you to think I don't support it, because I do. But are new farms being allowed to come in? Can a new farmer participate in this? Someone that's just starting out? They can?
As far as I know, yes. I will certainly double check that as well. There aren't a lot of new commercial dairy farms coming online, but we'll look into that and have some data for you.
Well, I know one or two that are. And Senator Dale, it's awfully hard to hear a nod. I guess that's all I'll have for today. I may have another issue I want to discuss with you, but not today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions from the committee for the AFC committee on the report back? Always, I know that people are happy to have follow-up if something comes up and you're reminded that you need some information. So I'd like to thank your committee, Senator Dill, for being here today, and appreciate seeing everyone and hearing the outline of your report back. So appreciate the hard work and the report itself, and it's in entirety. We really appreciate having the whole thing back. So thank you so much. And thank you, Commissioner, for being here today, and for Amy Carlton as well. So that being said, that is our only work for today in AFA. We will have more announcements coming out about we're going to be back on mic. I know they're scheduling some more report backs, but we don't have those solidified yet in the calendar. So we'll be in touch around that. My good co-chair, have I missed anything today other than that?
Don't believe so.
Great to see everyone in the Hollywood Squares, and we'll be back soon enough. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Yes, that's it, huh?
Enjoy the sunshine.